This is a Samsung W300 underwater video and still camera, and I bought it for $140, and I think it's a good buy with one caveat. The interface is by buttons on the front, and I consider the interface quite usable. I need reading glasses to read the buttons, but their location was far enough apart that I can use the camera in the dark and without my reading glasses, and I can easily remember which buttons I need to push for which effects. The camera says it has a zoom, but it's a digital zoom, not an analog zoom, and the digital zoom is unusable, so I don't consider it to have a zoom. The sound is a little bassy, which I found pleasant, makes me sound good, and the quality of the video and photographs was excellent. I'll put some clips of it on the end of this video and let you see what they look like. I'm recording this now on a Canon G12 for your information, and the G12 has a supposedly inferior quality to the video captured by the Samsung W300. There are some problems. I don't think it does well in the dark. I'll show you some videos and photos from the dark as well as from the day and let you make your decision on that. And it takes about a half a second to focus. It starts with close, racks all the way out, and then comes back before finding the focus. I was trying to photograph an egret from the side so you could see the bill, and it would look to the side. I'd punch my photo button and it would rack out, rack in, and the egret had turned completely around and given me the back of its head before the camera would take a photo. And it did it every time. Those birds know what I want and they won't give it to me. The unit has waterproof doors with a little slide button on it. This gives you access to the micro SD card and the USB port. I found the micro SD card difficult to remove because it's recessed and I couldn't get a hold of it, and it was a struggle every time to get the card out. It has a USB plug, but because of this door and the shortness of the plug, I found it difficult to plug into my normal USB multi-port outlet because I've got other cords in there, and with this door sticking out and this sticking out on the side, I used an extension cord, a USB extension cord, to get access to the USB. A minor aggravation. It came with a little wrist strap, which I used when I was snorkeling, and that brought me to a problem. I went snorkeling with it once. As I was coming back in, I was still floating on the surface, getting into quite shallow water, and a wave came in behind me. The camera was dangling on my wrist, and the wave brought me in, and my hand jammed down onto the sand with the camera under it, and when I looked down, the camera was like that, underwater. So I turned it over and sprinkled all the water out, and I've learned the lesson before and I learned it again. Salt water is instant death to electronic devices. You may be able to see that there is water in the bottom as you look around. The water is it flooded it totally. At some point, a few minutes after I got up on the beach and had shaken all the water out I heard a sizzling noise for a long time, and that was the innards frying, and the camera is totally dead. I'll post some photos. I'm not sure how clear this video shows the water. I'll put some photos in the video to show you how the camera looks in a still photo. I consider that design flaw fatal. If you're going to use this camera in a pool or in any area where you have the camera underwater, the easiness, the ease with which this door pops open is a killer. And that makes me recommend not buying this camera. I picked it because it was the least expensive underwater camera I could find. And then the question is, how often do I want to spend $140 for the least expensive underwater camera I can find? I consider it my fault that it flooded. It may also be that I exceeded the depth. This is limited to 16 feet. And when I snorkel, that's about 3 body lengths for me. I'm not sure whether I exceeded that as well and caused flooding, or whether the flooding was caused by the open door. But I consider the camera too fragile for snorkeling in the open ocean. I consider it too fragile for snorkeling in a pool if you're going to be in a pool. If you're going to be out in an area where you're splashed, like canoeing or kayaking or in the rain, I don't think you'll have a problem with this camera, and that would be a suitable camera that I would call water resistant, not waterproof. But if you're going into the ocean or into a pool or a river with this, I recommend buying a camera that has a better latching device than the little slides on this sucker. Okay, here are some stills from it. This is at night zoomed in. You can see the pixelation fairly clearly. Here it's zoomed back out to its widest, and you've got clean, sharp lines. The spackling of the digital zoom shows up very clearly in the broad expanses there. And again, back here with it not zoomed in during the daylight, the photos are fine. Here's a video that shows the lens at its widest angle. And when I zoom in, look at the red curb across the street, it looks like I'm videoing it under an extreme heat wave. It shimmers and refuses to stay still, even though the camera's moving around a lot. You can tell that there's posterization and pixelation going on from being zoomed in. And then when I zoom back out, so it's not digitally enhanced, it's fine. A nice shot of the bay with it not zoomed in, and a video of it underwater, again not zoomed in. The white balance is remarkable. I'm very pleased to see that the white balance shows the colors that I actually saw underwater without the green cast. Coming up next are photos of the camera after I got it back home. You can see fogging and water droplets inside it in these 2 photos. The next photo shows the USB port, which did not pop open, but it's got sand and water in it. Again, I don't know whether it's flooded from the other side or from too deep. The lens is just wrecked with those water droplets in it.